Let's talk wildcards. Now, I love wildcards. I think wildcards are like the thing that every other kind of sport misses out on. But for me, there's like nothing better than some guy coming in there, putting his nose where it's not supposed to be, and absolutely throwing up a wild result. As a wildcard rider, you're only there for like one race and going and nicking points off other contenders and stuff. I was devastated last season when we weren't allowed to have any wildcards, and I'm just hoping so badly that this season we really do get to see some more. But since it has been all consuming in my thoughts lately, just how much I miss wildcards, I thought I'd do this video and rank the 5 best wildcard appearances of all time. At number 5, I've got a Japanese rider, and this is going to be a bit of a theme, guys. The Japanese love a wild card. No one does it better than the Japanese do. Katsuyuki Nagasuka, 2012 Valencia. You may remember the race. I do. It was awesome. Casey Stoner's last race. Danny Pedrosa ended up getting the wing, but Nagasuka, bang, second place. What a ride. Chaotic race. The guy's going off everywhere, and it was really chaotic. And if there's ever a day that you're a wild card and you're not on the pace, but you're going to get something out of it, it's a day like that. It rained, the track was wet, dry line just appearing, just the thinnest tyre width of a dry line appearing, which meant that I think it was a handful of guys, 4 or 5 guys, Danny Pedrosa as well, who ended up winning the race, all pitted at the end of the warm-up lap, jumped on the old second bike with the dry setup on it, and went out from there. I think Nagasuka started on dries. I think he was on the grid on dries, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, just kept going around. I mean, top right in the sense that he had to pick that dry line. He couldn't really get off that line or he was done. And we saw a lot of guys make that mistake. Pedrosa went past everyone that day. It was amazing. But yeah, stuck in that dry line. Came through, finished second amidst all the chaos. I think Casey Stoner came third in that. Yeah, top ride, Nagasuka, number 5. Number 4, bit more of a recent one. I'm sure we all remember this one. Chen Onshu, the young Turkish rider, became the youngest ever Grand Prix winner in Moto3 when he debuted as a wildcard at Valencia as well. Last race of the season, Valencia loves a wildcard. Just throw someone in there. Last race, doesn't matter. Just chuck a guy in there. It's fine. Again, wet race, bit of chaos. Just went and won it, didn't he? Yeah, Chen Onshu. Not much to say about this one other than just like a young guy thrown in there. I think he was a Rookies Cup champion at that point. And just everything went right for him. What a ride, what a day. Youngest ever Grand Prix winner. I mean, can't beat that. I actually don't know what he's doing with himself. I think he's in Super Sports or something. Don't really know what he's doing with himself these days, but didn't really blossom into a Grand Prix career per se. It's not over for him yet. He's still a young guy, but I don't even think he's 20 yet. Will he be? What year was that? 2018, and he was 15. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not. So there's still time for him, but yeah, just didn't go down the Grand Prix path. He's down the Super Sport path. I'm sure we'll see him in World Superbikes one day if his performances are good, but yeah, that one day will never be taken away from him. I don't think we'll see a younger winner, to be honest. I mean, people are getting younger in sport all the time, aren't they? There's always a younger guy coming along, but on this one, I just think if it does get beat, it'll be a long way down the track. At number 3. Now, number 3 is an interesting one because I've not done it for just one performance. And this is what I mean, guys, about the Japanese know how to wildcard. The Japanese just do wildcards right. Especially in the 90s, they were everywhere. Japanese Grand Prix was just full, and I mean full, of Japanese wildcards all the time. And they were excellent. They weren't just there just make up the numbers at the back. They were always like competing near the front. Now, this is a collection of performances in wildcards. The late Daijiro Kato, what a rider. Unbelievable, one of my favourites of all time. In 96, he had his first wildcard appearance at the Japanese Grand Prix. It was his debut 250cc class. Came third. Not only that, but he turned up the next 2 years as a wildcard, 97, 98, and he won both of those. So this is like a collection of performances. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's fairly impressive. Like the fact that, like these days, can you imagine wildcarding young Japanese rider, full of speed, killing it, and then not ending up with a full-time ride. But not only that, coming back doing it the year after and still not getting a full-time ride and winning it, and then coming back and doing it again. But that just shows how good Kato was in the day. We really lost out on a potential challenger to Rossi throughout that period there when he unfortunately got killed in that accident. But like, what a guy. 3 wildcard appearances in Japan, a third and 2 firsts. So at number 2, and this I struggle not to put number 1 because I absolutely love this guy. It's Troy Bayliss, 2006 Valencia. I love Troy. I used to have the cap and everything, the Bayliss stick and all that. Really embarrassing wearing this bright red cap around when I was a kid, but that's what I did. I loved Troy Bayliss. Although his time at Ducati was shorter lived than I think it probably deserved, or that we thought it would be. Ended up at Honda, for a season or 2 there, I think, as well. But just Valencia 2006. Hey, let's see what we can chuck a wild card on there. Chuck Troy on the bike. See what happens. I remember this one as if it was yesterday. Being a Grand Prix fan in Australia is not easy. You're up all hours of the night watching races, and I think this one would have started at like 10 or 11 p.m. I had school the next day. Most of the time, if they were a bit too late or if I was tired, I'd just record them and watch them the next day. So I watched the start and I thought, if this race dies down a bit boring, I'll just record it and watch the rest of it the next day. I was glued to my television. But I just think he deserved it. I think it was a good race. I think he led start to finish pretty much. I think Caparossi, did he come second as well? So it was a great day for Ducati. It was just what launched Ducati into the 07 season with Casey Stoner. And it was great because there was a point there where 2 races in a row, the end of one season, start of the next, Australia had 2 Grand Prix winners in a row. So it was great. Quality ride from Troy. Struggled not to put this first, like I said, because I fucking love Troy Bayliss. All right, now at number 1, I've got one here that it might not be the best wildcard appearance of all time. Okay, let me just say that. But it's my favourite wildcard story of all time. 1995 Japanese Grand Prix, which I do not remember but I was just like a wee lad back in 95, and I wasn't even watching Grand Prix racing then. It was a couple of years later when I started to get into it, when I was, when I can actually remember watching races when I was a kid. Takuma Aoki has a wild card for the 500cc class at his home race in Japan. Now, he also has 2 brothers competing in the field at that time, that year. One of them being Nobuatsu Aoki, Nobi Aoki, who I'm sure we all remember, had a really good career for himself as well. He was in the 250s. The third brother as well, there was another one, Haruchika Aoki, was competing in the 125s and went on to win the 125cc World Championship that year. So he killed it. Again, I don't know if this is individually the best wildcard performance of all time, but I like this one the best. It's the funnest for me. So Takuma, who's competing as a wildcard in the 500s, he's second race of the day, right? First race of the day is Nobi Aoki in the 250s. Now, Nobi, really good rider. Had a really good career. Probably no other realms of possibility that you thought he might have got a podium in his home race, and he did. He came second, right? Next race of the day is Takuma in the 500s. Technically, this is the only wildcard appearance for this number 1 spot, and he came third, which is not bad. I mean, as a performance on its own, it's not as good as the Troy Bayliss performance, obviously. But what happens next? And that's that Haruchika in the 125s goes on to win the race later in the day. So they've got 3 brothers competing across 3 classes, one of whom's the wild card, and they've gone and put not only 2 podiums but a win together across the 3 of them. Now, 3 boys there, mum and dad are there, but I'm sure the whole family's there. The extent of getting everyone down there, right? Everyone's got a ticket, everyone come down and watch. They already knew that with Haruchika they were a chance, because he'd also won earlier in the season before this race. I think it was the 3rd race of the season. Nobi's a full-time rider at his home Grand Prix. We might get 2 boys on the podium today. But Takuma is a wild card. I mean, that year, 95, who are you competing with? Doohan? you know? Who else is around then? Is Schwann still racing then? I mean, it's full of big boys, right? This is a hard wild, wild west that was the 500cc class back in the 90s, right? This is not easy to go and, especially as a wild card. One race all season to do your thing. Takuma comes third, pop the champagne, happy days. I feel really happy for this family that they had this day. I just really like, this is my favourite wildcard story ever. Better than just when guys go and win the race. I've got Daijiro Kato here, who won 2 Japanese Grand Prix as a wildcard and podiumed in the other. Yeah, that's not as fun as this story. So yeah, I've got this at number 1. Yeah, cheeky one, like I said, that the actual wildcard himself didn't win the race, but I just like it. And that's all I got for you guys. So let me know in the comments what your favourite wildcard rider of all time is, because I love that one. I wish I was watching Grand Prix at the time to have seen it happen on the day. And I hope it, and this is why I love, the point of the video, guys, is that wildcards are fucking amazing. And we need more of them. And I want to see again where 3 brothers can just go and turn up on a day and get 3 podiums. Because, you know, they've got a wildcard brother in one class and, you know, they're all at their home Grand Prix. And like, how many great talents do we discover through wildcards? You know, so not everything has to be through the system the way the way it's designed, I guess, where you come up through Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP. Sometimes you just need a wildcard. Just get a wildcard, get a guy from somewhere else. He's just a local lad. Chuck him on a bike. Who knows what he's going to do? Now, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you got through to the end of this one, thanks again. Really appreciate it if you subscribe or just leave a comment or whatever, anything like that. We've got Portimao this weekend, Marquez back, very exciting. I hope you enjoy the race this weekend, guys, and we'll do a recap afterwards. We'll go straight back into our power rankings after it. Let's see if Mark pops up in the top 10. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Enjoy the race, and we'll see you on the next one.